Hello, everyone. Okay, now we're really back. Now we're officially like really back because my life is a living hell at the moment. Uh, Megan, we're gonna have to make our call like 30 minutes at max, man. Holy shitballs. Today really accelerated. So, all good stuff. I love the energy. Something's in the air. I know it. Everyone here is gonna freaking crush 2025. I don't want to make this like a rah-rah call, but I've been sort of waiting for today, all in a really good way. And I hope that you guys are excited to be back, um, ready to pounce. Brand Built is, I feel it. Darren has said it. We're going to double in the next 6 months. I feel it. Something's going on. I don't know what it is. Is there news we should expect? No. Uh, the app, that's the app is imminent. The app is any day now, so we're very excited about that. Um, Trying to think of any other new news. I'm going to be on a pretty big podcast today. I'm excited about that, called Niche Pursuits. Um, I got nothing, man. Let's just get this conversation going. We got our YouTube channel is going to really kick ass. That's interesting. That I'm very excited about. Um, so yeah, always diversify, people. So who's going to open the floodgates? Your own? Is it going to be you? Maybe your own. There he is. All right, let's start this
Yeah,
party.
why not? So you mentioned niche pursuits. I've never even heard of that, but niche, that's the whole thing that I'm kind of struggling with.
Mhm.
Um, I was thinking, because I've written for quite a few people, various people already, various professionals.
Mhm.
I find that the ones that I'm attracting slash get along with best are coaches.
Okay.
But yeah, but like I don't know, there's so many different like industries, and it's not really about the industry, but it's about the individual. And I feel like, if I limit myself to coaches or whatever, I'll be missing out on, writing for and meeting incredible individuals from all types of industries like SaaS and I'm thinking what else is there? There are lots of industries, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, so how do I, how do I find the niche? Like I know people have told me, it's just like it's a experiment slash long time thing. You just hop on a bunch of calls, with see who you're attracting, who your content is attracting, all that stuff. But I don't know. Is there anything else that you would suggest?
Well, I think the most important question here to really ask yourself is what do you want, right? Because the ghostwriting industry, it's funny, I think Holly Crawshaw put a post about it today, or something in my comments, or I don't remember what it was, but ghostwriting is kind of limited in terms of revenue and scale unless you take an agency model, right? And so if you're working for yourself and you just want to ghostwrite yourself and take on X amount of clients and have X revenue as your goal, that's where you really have your own choice, your own options, right? So if you're a specialty ghostwriter for coaches, you can do great. If you want to extend that out to other industries, you can also do great. And if you want to go with an agency model where you want to kind of scale your revenue a little bit and then farm out under you, you can do that as well. So this is much more of an identifying what you want kind of a question, your own, and I would throw that back at you. And once you have that answer, I'd have the answer for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but if I don't niche down, I'm
Hmm.
guessing it's really bad.
Why? What's bad about
Because, well, people like if I'm speaking to a very specific audience, then I'm more likely to, attract them versus if I just say founders, then somebody comes across my profile and they're like, okay, but which industry, whatever. It's like it's not speaking directly to them. That's the whole idea.
But you even said it yourself that it's the person. So you are speaking to those people no matter what industry they are in. It really depends though, your own. It really does depend, right? Like I've said this before. you can be a ghostwriter for lawyers, and you're going to be hyper specialized, and you really are pushing to those specific lawyers, and that's cool. And you will likely pick up that niche. But then you have to start speaking lawyer language or whatever, however, whatever resonates with those people. Um, I'll tell you what I would do in my own case, and then maybe you can decide what you'd want to do. I feel I can write to anyone if I knew the client well enough. I don't care about their industry; it doesn't make a difference to me. I personally think I would do very well with financial advisors only because I've dealt with so many in terms of coaching and in terms of branding. But if you understand people's pain points and they're filling out, let's say, an avatar worksheet, and you got all that as a ghostwriter, you got a lot to go on there, and therefore the niche doesn't really matter. What matters is what you're actually going after, what benefits they are trying to provide to their clients. And so, yeah, it's more targeted to go after a niche. But when I think of niche, I think way more of psychographics than I do demographics. Again, I'm not saying that's for everyone's industry, right? Some people are in SaaS. Of course, you're not going to target lawyers if you're in SaaS. Like, you're going to be talking about SaaS. I don't even know what the fuck SaaS is. Service as a software. I'm not that, okay, out of the loop. But I'm just saying that, like, if you're in the IT industry, what are you doing? You're probably talking to people in the IT industry. So in your case, Yaron, if you're making progress and you're getting more clients, you're at an interesting crossroads, a good crossroads. Hey, hell yeah, I'm getting more clients. But B, what do I want? What do I want to do? Who do I want to actually work with? And honestly, I think you're still not there yet, if I'm taking a guess. You're finding your groove at being able to get clients and write good content and grow your brand. I would almost be riding this wave. I think you're in a good place, unless I'm mistaken.
No, you're right.
Mhm.
So that is good advice. Thanks. So I guess I'll just keep thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it, and it's a decision. I'm not saying it's an easy decision, right? Um, it's not an easy decision, but because I went through something very similar when I started doing one-to-one coaching, and I was working with a lot of people I didn't really want to work with. And that can really gnaw at you. I'm not discounting that. It's a big deal. And that's when I sort of broke off of LinkedIn for a while, went into coaching again, charged triple my rates, and all of a sudden my clients changed in probably more of a way that I wanted. Even then, I was still working with pain in the ass people, and I didn't want to work with all of them, right? So it's a good problem to have, but one that I think is very good that you're thinking about already. Um, just because maybe you're resonating with coaches and you're working with more of them, maybe they're all a pain in the ass. In which case, you have every right to go after a different industry group, right? And I would encourage you to do that to keep your sanity and to
Right.
remain interested, right?
So how did you find your niche?
Time, continuously putting out my message, not only seeing who I resonated with, which a lot of people will tell you, but also seeing who I wanted to work with. It's a big deal. We've had a lot of members walking in and out these doors of Brand Built, right? And some of you I'd probably prefer working with more than others. Sorry, but it's just the nature of being a human being. But how I found it was that combination of seeing what resonated, but also seeing, like, hey, who's like me, or who's someone I really resonate with, or I really want to see, excel. Um, and that unfortunately takes time, repetition, exposure, right? Just like confidence. You're not going to build confidence by taking one game-winning shot. You want to take 50. And then the next game-winning shot's not as big a deal to take, right? And the same goes with building up the confidence to work with who you want to work with. There's nothing wrong with building up, let's use an old person word here. There's nothing wrong with building up a Rolodex of clients, but eventually chipping away at it, sort of removing it. right? One thing I did this week, which was a pain, but it was only because I was like, I got to do this. I changed my calendar around and I made myself less accessible. And you can do the same thing with clients. So you'll get there.
Yeah, thanks, Nat.
You got it, man. Megan, welcome
Hi,
back. How are you?
good. How are you?
Good.
Could you do a walkthrough of my LinkedIn profile?
Really? That's
Yeah,
surprising. Okay.
finally, everything's up.
Okay. I'm excited. Let's see. Ugh, I did a demo today. A lot of people on it. Good thing. Hopefully we'll get some more people. Let's see. Sarah Snyder's in here. I see you, John. All right.
Gross. Jeez, I'm nervous now you're on.
Your website's looking pretty fire, by the way.
Oh, you saw my website?
That's no joke. No, Shahir posted it to the community.
Oh yeah. That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot he did that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, he's
Is,
great.
is it live yet?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. You should post that to the group. All right.
How
So
about
here we go. All right. Digi Staffing Solutions, fueling your digital marketing and sales team, empowering you to hire better. Love it. You do have the same photo. Just going to point that out.
I need some new photos.
So what I would do is, I actually really like the purple and the orange. So I would probably totally up to you. You could keep the same image. I think you might want to go zoom in a little more on the on the image.
Okay.
Usually, you want to go neck up.
Okay.
So if you want like a body shot, which is like I have the same thing, I would probably go for either the one you have now, or just change one of them. I connect leaders with top marketing and sales talent and teach them how to hire. Done. Do you want to maybe go digital marketing? That's up to you. I connect leaders with marketing and sales. You're good. Let's build your dream team. Awesome. Yes. Let's face it, you aren't great at hiring. Done, and that's okay. Talk about yourself. Excellent. Say what you offer. Even have a website. We're going right here. We're going to go on it and see. Let's see how.
You'll see the same picture again.
There it is. That's the one. Oh yeah, this looks great. This is really good. Oh, hey, how you doing, Megan?
There's like a million of me.
No, this is awesome. This looks really good.
Thanks.
Yeah, man, I think you're good. I very much like the profile. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know. But I think you nailed it.
Thanks. Yeah, one question I just had is on the about
Mhm,
section.
mhm.
I left like a lot of space so that somebody will click open to see the rest. Is that what you typically do?
Uh,
Should I should I
I
move?
don't think you need to because what you may have is just, and that's okay. And you could put like dot 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 and not, you know what I mean? Because you also have to
Okay.
you have to think of mobile as well. Let me actually see. I know I don't. I'll show you mine. I know I don't have that. Um, you see right
Okay. That
there.
looks better. I think this space looks kind of weird.
Yeah, I probably should have like a dot dot dot, but you see it right there, the bottom three dots. So they let you know to see more. But yeah, I think you're golden.
Okay. Thanks so much.
You are welcome.
That training and this call definitely helped a lot too.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. John Carpenter.
Hey,
They
uh,
live. What's up?
question. So, you know, started the DMs yesterday that we had talked about the other day. Have two replies. So I guess out of 43. So when you're doing your DMs, what's a decent percentage on return? I mean, it's always been a numbers game as cold calls go, and things like that. And I'll take the two because I think one of them is going to turn into the monthly recurring revenue. Um, So what's that like? Like, what's a good percentage on that? Obviously, 50% is not gonna work, but
Yeah, that's so hard. I'm usually pretty happy with like five.
okay.
Like, so if I send out 50 and I get five back, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I'm not happy, but I'm like, yeah, that's normal, Personally, lately, I've been seeing a pretty good response. It's been like 10 plus off of 50. I just think that's because I have a good account. I think it's because I get a lot of comments, all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing very little like super cold anything. If it's super cold and you send out 43 and you get two, I actually think that's more normal than most people would think, right? You
Yeah.
have to put things into perspective. But if you're dealing with people that um,
Yeah, I mean
that
it's lukewarm,
are,
right? It's all people I've talked to in the past over 10 years. It's been a while since we've had conversations. It's even some that I've worked with in the past that have just moved different companies or whatever. Um, and I don't take it as in it's only been 24 hours, so it
yeah,
could take a couple more days because of people being off work in the hospitality space or whatever. But okay. And I
it
haven't really
could.
pushed on the coaching, although I did just have a consulting job that for 1 hour, $250, like that I just wrapped up before this call.
Look, man, that's
For helping someone
progress.
hire.
It's already
What's that?
progress. I said that's
Yeah.
progress. I've been trying to
Yep.
tell my own partner, Darren, we've been doing Facebook ads and we haven't gotten shit and we've spent money and it's annoying. But every single week has been better than
Yep.
the last. I'm
Okay.
like, I'm happy to stop if that wasn't the case. So today, for example, I think there were 4 people on my demo from Facebook ads. It's the best we've ever had. If one joins, we win. We've already figured out like the estimated LTV, right? If like one person joins per day, we're doing great on our Facebook ads.
Good.
I have no doubt that we'll get there. I just have to convince Darren, can we keep spending money, please? But it's, whatever. In your case, you have to take an overall view and be like, holy shit, you just got a $250 consult.
Yeah.
You've not been doing this very long. You've not
Right.
been posting content like that very long. You've not been pushing coaching very long. So
Right.
to me, that's really good progress. And if that one all of a sudden turns into two, not tomorrow, a month from now,
Yep.
it's progress. So yeah.
And he even said he after because we worked on his hiring plan, and then he said, "Well, once we get this up and people start to roll in, I'm going to grab another hour so that I can learn how to interview and take it to the next level." And so, like, yeah, so it's going to turn into at least more than one. And it came from a local person that isn't a BNI group. I'm not in BNI, but I know the guy. He referred to
Mhm.
somebody else. He's a photographer that does $300,000 a year, and he's looking to add on, employees. So
Mhm.
it's a niche. I mean, I used to be a photographer, so I could speak to speak, but I
Mhm.
don't. Yeah, I think local is going to be the way to go for the hiring consulting thing, though. So I
Nice.
appreciate it.
Shahir just joined. Shahir, we gave you a shout out, buddy, for Megan's website. Just wanted to let you know. Thumbs up, dude.
Yeah, thank you so
Um,
much.
you got it, man. Daryl Parker, somebody is smashing it today on LinkedIn.
Holy crap, dude.
Post.
I'm coming up on 100,000 impressions on that one little video. So that's like my question for you. I've heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not a big fan of the video or maybe video. So, and I know that I'm not getting like the types of reactions or followers that I would get if a post blew up that way, like a written post. But, 100,000 impressions is 100,000 impressions. I'm just curious what you think.
Mhm.
Where is it going in 2025 for video on LinkedIn?
So I'm going to backtrack on video and say that I never said I wasn't a fan of video. What I said was I don't necessarily trust the impressions that are coming from video on the platform at the moment. Because when you look at it from an analytics perspective, if you're getting 100,000 impressions and you're getting the same amount of likes and comments as you would on the exact same post from a day ago with less than a tenth of the impressions, to me, something is up.
So
It,
they have, and I don't know if they've had this before, but I did notice that there's a views. So
yeah,
I'm like, I think I'm at like 90,000 impressions right now, and there's like 3,000 views for that.
but that's a really good thing that they're doing
Yeah.
is to have that views because a view is almost similar to like a click-through rate, right? It's
Yeah,
like
I think so.
actually watching. So I'm all for video. I've always said this. Video to me is the best way to build a closer relationship and connection to a potential client or customer or relationship. No doubt about that. let's not forget, I grew up on this platform doing video every day. That's what I did. And I'll happily post video once in a while. I just like using video for now. I feel like using it for YouTube. But it doesn't mean that I'm, again, against it. If the right statistics are working in your favor, hell yeah, do videos, right? So it's all about what you hope to get out of your time spent and the types of goals that you specifically have.
It-
Go ahead.
I was going to say that kind of gets to like the content approach.
Mhm.
And that was my other overarching question. So does the all content that you produce should appeal to your ICP, but obviously it's going to appeal to a much broader audience as well. But like what I posted today was just a generic, I mean, it's a motivational type thing, right? It's not a very specific, like, this is why you need to focus on your website maintenance as a part of your marketing agency. I'm not talking about that. It's a very generic thing on encouragement. How do you balance that type of content?
Awesome question. And let me explain. There's a function and purpose for the post you did today, whether you recognized it or you didn't, right? And to me, that function and purpose is actually two things: connection and attention. Connection and attention. If you're posting something motivational, right, you want people to see it, period. And you also want people to connect with it. Now, the way I look at it is a post like that is ammunition for an eventual post that will be more targeted, that will be ICP oriented, right? So let me give you an example. Someone's been following you for 2 months. You're posting all educational, all ICP related, all sales related content. One day you switch it up and you post a motivational video, just like the one you posted today. Here's what can happen, and I've seen it happen. Those people that are following you are like, damn, he just took me for a loop. I like this guy. I relate to this guy. Let me contact this guy. That's the difference maker. And that's why I like content like that, right? So there's a time and a place for all of it. As long as you have an intention in mind, I think that's important. The getting attention is currency. There's no question about it. But I think the way attention works, and our good friend Luke Matthews had a little rant this weekend, which was awesome. He went off on engagement pods, went off. And
It was so good.
yeah. And he's like, let's just call him Chris. And I sent him like a telegram. I'm like, dude, that's hilarious, which happens to be the real name of the person who does it. Anyway, so, but let me explain something, Daryl. And this is what I don't want to people to get into the trap of. And I'm not, do whatever the fuck you want. You want to, no, not Chris do. Although it does start with DO. If you want to join a pod and pay for engagement and get attention, you can do that. But what's happening out there right now is you're going to see posts that are going to be, bus stop murals and cheat sheets, and you're already seeing them, and they're going to get like 700 shares right there. That's a red flag. It's like that's not legit, right? And I have to ask, are those people making money? Are those people building relationships? I'm going to go ahead and say likely not. I just don't buy it. Who's making money? The person at the top of that pod, the top of that engagement group. That's the people making the money. Because all they're teaching is LinkedIn growth through algorithmic means, which they are inflating artificially. That, to me, is the closest thing I can think of to getting a video with 1 million impressions and nothing else. So the people that are in these types of groups and the pods and the engagement groups, I think a lot of their content doesn't get them shit. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're all millionaires. But I think you and I know a lot better than that, Daryl. They're not. They're pressing a button. They're turning on an exhaust, pipe or whatever, a machine. They're turning on a faucet, and they're just spitting out likes, comments, impressions. And without the good content, it's not going to matter. And by the way, it's all the same now. So how are they different from one another? They're not.
Yeah. And I made a post about that a couple of days ago, a little video about that uniqueness. I will say, and if I can throw in, so I am not comfortable on camera. Like I am not comfortable being that kind of head guy that's talking in these videos.
Mhm.
So I knew that going into the end of the year, and I knew that I wanted to change that. So I started a YouTube channel, and I forced myself to post every day. I posted stuff, I deleted it, but I was like, I'm going to put out content. I'm going to put out content. I'm just going to go kind of like what I've been doing on LinkedIn for the last 2 months. And it really changed my ability to find my voice and find how I wanted to talk to the audience and what I wanted to bring to that audience. So it's one of those things that the way through is the way to it is through it. You kind of have to get out there and do it and push it so that you can do this type of thing too. So if you're not confident on video, there is a way to that if you want to be.
Yeah, and there's one of the first like professional videos I ever did. This is many years ago on LinkedIn, 2020, right before COVID. I had a video team fly out, do videos. Quentin Allums, if anybody remembers that name, Quentin Q. I hired his team many, many years ago. They came to my house, filmed like 50 different videos. And one of the favorite ones that I did was my first line was something like, I love making money being myself. And you don't have to be a comedian. You don't have to be this to make money being yourself. The point is if there's something that I've been, expressing to people since day one, and not since 2019 on LinkedIn, I'm talking 2000, forever, is that you really have to lean into who you are and embrace that. So if you're the shy guy, be the shy guy. Like what you just said resonated with me. Hey, I was really shy on camera for a while. You know what? Get on camera and say that. Right? That's the exact thing that's going to make a difference and will take you through that door, right? And I know that it's hard. It's certainly uncomfortable. I think that's exactly how it's supposed to be. But if there's one thing that's really important in creating content and putting yourself out there, it's being uncomfortable and putting yourself out there. It's tough, man. It's not easy to do. But once you, quote unquote, let go, and that means something different for all of you. Once you let go and you say that thing you didn't want to say, or you reach out to that person you didn't want to reach out to, that's how you hit the next level at whatever level that you're at, right? I'm facing that myself right now, is having to do things that are different, uncomfortable, to reach another level. And then you plateau, and then you have to do something different again. So great example here, Daryl. And I hope that everybody can slightly get that comfort of doing something uncomfortable, right? Because that will change things.
That's where the magic happens.
What's that?
That's where the magic happens.
Damn right it
Outside the
does.
comfort zone.
So in my opinion, it's like I'm not discounting the need for views. I'm not discounting the need for metrics. But I don't want you to think about them, right? As being the end all be all. The statistics that matter are relationships built, deals closed, right? Leads generated. That's what you need to be thinking of. And I can tell you right now, someone who has 3,500 likes and 600 shares on a post, they're generating shit from that. And that's just more shit to sift through, frankly. It's a waste of time. Instead of producing something that's amazing quality.
Take a minute. Use word.
So, yeah, I hope that helps. All right, folks, who's next? Anyone? Yitzhak, how you doing, man?
How's everything?
It's great. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year. So you want a little lecture? What I found the last few weeks.
Of course.
Every post which I had the word telecom, okay,
Yeah.
went viral in impressions with nonsense type of impressions because I'm monitoring what type of impressions I'm getting, and I got a lot of those big firms type of companies from 10,000 users and above. So the point is, definitely LinkedIn is doing a lot of things with AI to identify that. I couldn't make out when a post goes viral like that with impressions and when it doesn't. So I went back and I could show it to you. Every post which had the word telecom went crazy with the same type of impressions. No telecom, booms. So
Very
that's one lesson. That's one lesson in impressions. Another one, which is just common sense. So to overcome a little this new algorithm stuff or whatever, to boost up a little bit engagement, the way I feel it should be done, and I think there's no choice really, is to pay in a little bit on ads. So you put out your post, your work, gotta be a good post, otherwise you're wasting your money. So you have a good post, you have decent engagement, and at the same time you post, you put out an ad. You have to know how to do that also to keep it, let's say, under 50 cents per engagement. That's per click to read it. And with $20 a day, you could get at least, I would say, let's say from $20, you'll get 500 engagements, but it will multiply the native ones at least 3 to 4 times, if not 5 times. So sometimes a little bit money could have a huge boost in an account. And another point of comparison and impressions, you have so I'm doing a lot of work on my company page, and I figured out how I could get a little bit engagement there. So I'm working that up right now. But interesting enough, as good as the post would be on a business page, the return, that means the average pay per click, whatever, will be about 3%, when on a personal post you could get 15 to 25%. So think about it. They will shove you out, and you're only paying per click. So you're paying the same amount of money on the business post and on your personal post. On your business post, you'll get thousands of impressions. On some business posts, I got 20, 30,000 impressions, but barely any activity, any clicks, because the percentage is very low. As opposed to on the personal posts, if it's good, it goes like crazy. And just to finish up, if I get on, for example, today, I did some crazy hook, which the average right now on that paid version is over 25% click through, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So that shows where a good post could have a good return on investment just with a little bit money. Again, I hope you understood what I'm saying.
I totally understand it. And let me ask you a follow-up question. Would you be willing to do a webinar on LinkedIn ads?
Yeah, I think the best would be, I'm not the best with doing webinars. I would show you what I did and I'll share my account and you'll be able to teach it to everybody. Yes, absolutely.
Love it. Because that's what I want to do, I think, in the next sales call. I want to talk about LinkedIn ads, benefits, and all that stuff. So, guys, if you want to know the ins and outs and the technical stuff, he's your man. Contact Yitzhak. He's awesome. Appreciate that. That's very, very helpful. I think John McCarroll has his hand up. And Manuel, you're next. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, I love his data. Now I just got to figure out how I could incorporate telecom into my posts now. So a different sort of analysis. I know people are aware of it, but I really didn't notice it until just recently. And it's in my posts, I used to try to put together a picture that made sense or correlated with the post. And I've since just switched to selfies and have just seen a big increase with when I'm just putting a picture of myself, even if it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to what the post is. And just for confirmation, I switched back for one post and it like went way down. So I was just really surprised on that. But what I wanted to share was a small win. I had reached out and connected with somebody, and he sent me a DM back and said, "Hey, thanks. I looked at your profile. I wonder if we could jump on a call and ask about specific stuff." So I said, "Sure, let's go." We spoke and filled him in on the information. And then at the end, he said, "Yeah, I'm just curious, what made you reach out to me?" And I said, "I specifically targeted you." And he was like, "Huh?" And then I like told him, this was the process, and he was like, "Oh wow, that's really interesting." Um, but I'm meeting him on Friday to look at his project. So it was just like it works.
Congrats, man. No, I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear it. Something that's a lot of fun to do, a tactic that I use that will really stop people in their tracks is something that you did. When he said, what'd you do? And you were like, I targeted you, right? Sometimes I'll be on a demo call and I'll pause the entire conversation. I'll say, I want you guys to think about something. Why are you all here? Right? And they'll think about it and I'll say, that's exactly what we teach you. And people are usually like, oh shit. And they realize like, whoa, wait a minute. Matt took us through this entire thing in the DMs and here we are listening to this. And then I'm like, oh, head turner, this is precisely what we teach you to do. Right. And that's a lesson for all of you, that when you're in the midst of something like that, if you really want to stop someone in their tracks, ask them why they're talking to you. And you can then let them know, hey, well, that's what I help you do. And it'll usually be very, very significant to them. It'll mean a lot. So glad to hear it, John. My suggestion, keep going, man. Don't change a thing. And keep those selfies going. Look, man, they work. Why do you think I'm wearing t-shirts every day, man? Like if anything, you know how many comments I get? I get at least one a day where someone says, came for the shirts, stayed for the content. I love when people say that. I'm like, good. I got you in the door, but I kept you there. That's what's more important. So, yeah, man. Keep bringing them in the door. Manuel, new member. What's up?
Hello. Nice to meet you. Nice, everybody. I have a question that it's actually the what's just Nat say about the bringing the people to the demo. I mean, I felt it, but it was so well done that I say, okay, let's go for it. And it was well done with the I would say the perfect timing, the perfect timing. It was not repetitive. It was just at the right moment, and just like, hey, no, I'm there. It's okay. Question that come back a little bit to Aaron. I have a quite about the niche. I have quite a different problem, the opposite problem. I run 5 companies, and on a profile, it's quite difficult to push one company, another company, or the other company. So I have to be quite general, but also showing some expertise in a specific domain that will attract without jeopardizing the other activity. It goes even tougher when you have a startup investor or a startup hiring you to grow the startups and pushing you to put your personal brand or your personal network to the service of that startup, but you still have your own company. So I want to ask your opinion on this, because a lot of people speak about niche. I understand if I have one profile, it goes really well. It goes really well if I had one company. But when you have multiple company and on top of that another assignment, it's quite complicated to think about, the banner, the tagline and everything. So what is your point
I'm
of
going to
view?
give you a couple options here, only because for the majority of people, and we've got at least 4 or 5 in our group that are very similar situations, where I've actually given them pretty specific advice. My normal advice is the following. My normal advice is you really should represent yourself coming from one specific angle, especially on a place like a LinkedIn or any other social media profile. So whatever the main company it is you're trying to grow or go after, I would normally say to you, that's what you should push, right? And usually that advice is pretty sound. And that advice and the way I would tell that person to operate is operate from a place of that one company or that one idea, and then integrate the others into your content as well as mentioning it somewhere in your profile, but certainly not leading with it. However, there are some people out there who are generalists and kick-ass entrepreneurs. And if you're a startup founder and you have 5 different companies, in my opinion, you should be marketing yourself as a startup founder who has multiple companies. And that's your brand. So
That's
what we're
what I
talking
did.
about is what's the most important thing for Manuel to be representing? If you want to be known as someone who excels in creating and scaling companies, that to me speaks startup founder. And that's your brand. And then you can talk about everything you want. There's another good word, serial entrepreneur. That's what Yaron just put in there. So there's a whole bunch of different angles you can take. So I don't know enough about your situation, but I do know that you seem to be coming from somewhat of a more generalist point of view, in which case I would opt for pushing yourself much more as either a startup founder, serial entrepreneur, whatever. Whereas some other folks, they're like, you know what? I've got a couple of businesses, but I'm really trying to push this one. Well, that's where I would say you really should be pushing one. And I'll use myself as an example, right? My main operation, my main business is brand build, but I own websites. You don't know that from my profile, but you know it from some of my content, right? So hopefully that helps. You need to take a look at where your priorities lie right now and how you want to position yourself. And if you want to position yourself as like, hey, I'm someone to talk to when it comes to learning how to build companies. I'm someone to talk to when it comes to learning about, you know, the ins and outs of startups or, you know, whatever, then you've got yourself a brand. Whereas, hey, maybe you've got 5 companies, but you're really only pushing a robotics company. And that robotics company, that's your brand. So you need to make that decision. And, you know, I wouldn't take it lightly, but definitely, and I'm happy to talk to you offline about that. But it really comes into where your priorities lie and what's really the most important thing to you in the next 6 months to 12 months.
Okay. Another question, if I may, if I may.
No, go right ahead.
When you need to reach out your personal network, the first circle network, like because you want to make them known that you're part of you invest or you take participation in one startup, which is a brilliant ideas and they have a brilliant product. How do you ping them? I have no problem, and I have a really high rate. Reply rate, connection rate when I do cold messaging. I'm pretty happy with it. But when it comes to ping my network, it's those guys are my network, and I have almost no reply at all. And I'm like, what is going wrong? You know?
So you have full access membership. You got to see our whole thing on DMs, man. Go into the classroom, go into learning, and go to the archives of my sales calls. And we did an entire thing on forming DM strategies.
Okay.
So I would watch that. So what we're really talking about here is you need a custom created message for DMs for first connections is what we're really talking about. And I'll just give you a brief sort of template that you can sort of take with you from this call. One of the things I would say is it really depends. Number one, do you actually know this person or are they just a first connection, right? Because that's important.
No, I know a lot.
Okay. If
I
you know a
know
lot
a
of
lot,
them,
yes.
then in my opinion, those messages are going to be somewhat different. But if it's just a first connection who you're only connected to and you really haven't communicated with them before, I always like to just lead with, hey, so-and-so, you know, I just say name, comma, it's been a while since we last connected. right? It's been a while since we last connected. And then I'll just say, by the way, here's what I'm doing right now. Any interest in learning more? So it could be just one or two sentences about your latest thing, like what you're doing. And you can even be more aggressive and say, love to share a few details with you. Is that okay? Question mark. Always ask permission. And you'll probably get a good response rate doing something like that. But if it's someone you just know already, short as possible. Hey Jim, it's Manuel. Hope all is well. Got something I want to share with you. You around? Literally that. I wouldn't. If you know someone, I wouldn't go any further than that. Depends on the strength of that relationship. But usually, my rule of thumb in general is anyone who's a first connection that I'm pretty sure doesn't know me all that well, other than the fact that I'm a first connection, I'm going to be pretty specific with what I'm doing and asking them if I can talk about it. And for me, it's always the same thing. It's always our community. It's always like, hey, I'm running a community that does this. Couple of bullet points. Would it be okay if I shared some more info? I never say interested, not until way later in the conversation. So I would start there. I would definitely start there.
Okay, perfect.
Hope that's helpful. Yep. And let me know. Message me. Let me know. Show me what you've been sending. See what the response rate's been, and we'll continue to try and improve it.
Super. Thank you.
You got it. What do we got here? Anyone?
I'm just sitting here amazed at my video. I'm getting like 1,000 impressions a minute right now. Just crossed 100,000 with 3,800 views. So it's absolutely freaking blowing up.
Are your followers increasing?
Yes, not a lot though. I've only added like 7. So you would think it'd be a heck of a lot more than that, but what a great experiment. I know, right? I need my popcorn. I'm just sitting back watching it though, Steph. I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Refresh.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Just don't get addicted to it.
I've never gone viral before, Matt. So.
Look, either have I, man. I had a couple of those videos that did like 500,000. But honestly, people are always surprised when I tell them, like, I don't know what viral really means on LinkedIn, but like, put it this way. If viral is 100,000 views, I've only crossed that threshold a few times.
Yeah.
Ever.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Anyway. Cool. Anyone else? All right. We've got 11 minutes, folks. I will stop this early if no one steps up.
You know what? I'll take a profile review if no one's going to throw in. I know there's a couple of gaps in mine, but I think I know where they're at, so you can validate that.
All right, let's go. So I'd probably upgrade the banner, maybe. But that's up to you.
You like a image of the person in the banner,
Well,
right?
you don't even have to have that. I wouldn't mind it being a little busier. But the actual message, I like the message. Business owner, web guy, I don't agree with that. I would want you to have a specific tagline. Who are you? What are you known as? Like, web guy is closer than business owner. So I would almost go the traditional tagline route. Like, what is Daryl Parker? When I think of Daryl Parker, what am I thinking of?
Yeah,
My post, I want people to think of the business coach who actually runs a business.
Yeah. It's a little tougher for me just because of my mixed roles, but
I got you. But again, this is the question that Manuel just asked. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like, what do you want to be known as? Clearly, Parker Webb, I think, is probably what you're leading with. So maybe
that's the focus is Parker Webb.
So then maybe think of some kind of a tagline having to do with Parker Webb. I would do like a really just piercing sentence.
We have used the web guy down the hall. We've used we fix websites. But there does get to be a little confusing. Well, I've gone through a lot of taglines in the last 5 years, but always trying something else out. So
yeah. I would stay with that, you know, the We Fix websites or something along those lines, but maybe some more
That's a pretty
detail.
strong one. It's easy to remember.
It is.
And it stands
Um,
out on the comments.
The only thing I would add is maybe some sort of a benefit, right? Like we fix websites so that, you know, like something, maybe something that helps you stand out.
So that you don't have to.
Yeah, something like that. We fix websites because you suck. No, I'm kidding. Not
Yeah.
that.
You don't waste
Like,
time.
what's
Oh,
that?
So you don't waste, make it time based.
Yeah, something like that.
Depends on how sassy you want to be, right?
Well,
'Cause it could be, let's
Is
face
that
it, your
is that
website's
two
not-
A's or two S's?
I
Sassy,
Oh,
get it?
geez.
Oh, God.
I
Oh,
do kind of
gee.
like the
Hey,
so
look,
you-
I mean, Darren's not here. I could be as silly as I want. I don't care.
I do kind of like this, so you don't have to, just
Yeah.
because we are trying to appeal to a third party, not the end party.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing up top is we're saying, are your client website update requests killing you?
Okay.
So maybe I'll try that for a while.
Ready to chat, pick a time. I like that. You can always tinker with that copy. Doesn't matter. You know, mine says book a demo. You can go, is your website struggling? Question mark, contact me. I mean, anything you want. That's a matter of just how am I going to get the most clicks on there, right? And so that's something you experiment with.
So our ICP in this scenario is a third party like digital marketing agency. That's who we want to be talking to because we want to service their clients either as white label or them referring the business to us.
So in that case, you know, your tagline might be something along those lines. Servicing digital marketing agencies, da 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 da. You know what I mean? You may want your tag, or you may want that to be up in your banner as well, because you just got very specific there. So why not do that in either your banner and your tagline? This needs some work. Your about section definitely needs work. Like, who is Daryl? I want to know who Daryl is. I would go something much more piercing when it comes to a hook here. So remember, think about your about section like you would a LinkedIn post. You want a good hook. You want to get them in there. You want them to know about you. All this stuff is more towards the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, schedule a chat above or hit me up in my DMs. You could also provide an email address or a website. And sometimes I like to be pointed. Instead of stop letting, point at them. You're letting your little website update drag your agency down. You know what I mean? That's different. That's much more piercing. So that's, you know, to me, I would use that much more as a hook. And you can go one of two ways. You can do, you're pointing at you're pointing at them and you're being very service-based oriented, or you could say, I always hated repairing websites. That's more about Daryl. Or I always loved repairing websites. People are never going to question who you are from a hook like that. So you need to decide, am I going service and sales, or am I going personal? I do both. Mine was, I led with, I never wanted a boss. That's my hook. So obviously it's likely that I'm headed towards the entrepreneurial route. I'm likely headed towards building a business route. It's just evident from that first line. So you need to choose that. You do not currently have a featured section. So that's a problem. You need to have a featured section and have probably 1-2 items tops. I would have this, your Calendly, as your main one, just like I have on mine. Well, it's not a Calendly anymore, but it's the same thing. It's our brand built link. And you get to have a custom image. So I would definitely go there. I would probably just do one thing. If your only focus is on Parker Web, then make it a Calendly to talk to you about Parker Web. And that's it. So you do have some stuff to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it doesn't have to be perfect in order to get him to evaluate it. Just throwing that out there.
Can you do mine next?
Definitely not. Only Megan gets to be perfect today. Shahir, you're the final hit.
Yeah, Hannah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask, do you have a short tutorial on how to use the Sales Navigator on LinkedIn? Currently, I'm on Business Plan, but I'm looking forward to upgrade it to Sales Navigator. So if you have a short tutorial on that.
So I'm not sure what level of membership you're on. At the unlimited access, we do have my tutorial on that. And then I do some brief stuff in here. I do have some brief stuff on Sales Nav here. I just posted a YouTube video. But also in our classroom, if you go into my sales training archives, I did an entire thing on Sales Nav. So you can check it out there as well.
All right.
All right.
And what are some of the benefits of having a Sales Navigator? Can you send more connection requests?
You can send up to 250 a week.
Something like that.
250 a week targeting. Targeting is probably the biggest thing for Sales Nav by far. Do you really need a Sales Navigator account? No. But it definitely helps. I would never use it as a CRM. That's one thing I would not use it as. I know how to. It sucks. I love the targeting. Just, if you wanted to find someone in marketing at a company with X amount of employees in X industry, you could do that. And it's very, very good for that. Unfortunately, what it's not great at is are they all active on LinkedIn? Because if they're not, then that sucks. They need to be active on LinkedIn if you're, otherwise I think it's kind of pointless. But yeah, check out the video. You might want to fast forward a little bit. I don't do a whole ton on it in the video I just shared, but we did do like an hour on it in the community. So.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Great first meeting on the 2025 front. And look, I hope everyone has a great day, great week. Always know I'm available. We're all available. Let's kick some ass. I know there's some new members that came in already during this call, so that's great. And yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. See you soon. Bye.